Hey, everybody, welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal.
And I'm Joel.
Happy post-Turkey Day to everybody who is in the North American continent that is also within the borders of the United States, because that was that.
We had ours in October.
You had yours in October on the scariest month of the year.
Indeed.
The Canadians overeat. That's how it goes here. We hopefully you had a what was it, Boxing Day?
That's post.
Oh, okay. What do you call your Thanksgiving again? I don't remember.
We just call it Thanksgiving or Canadian or Canadian Thanksgiving to help differentiate it from yours, because sometimes it is confusing.
Yeah, you got to change the name. Don't make us change the name.
Yeah, really.
We talked about yours, I think, on one of the shows. But did you have a nice one?
Yeah. I did a prime rib this year, and because my mom actually ended up taking care of a bunch of the older ladies who live in the building with me, ended up making plates for them. And it's funny, as I'm sitting there carving, I'm like, hey, how did I get talked into this, making food for other people? All for me, usually.
That's right. That's part of the spirit of Thanksgiving, is to share and in the community and make food for other people. We certainly did the same at our place. And if you follow us on Twitter at Sal Says What, or if in Instagram.com/ComicPopOfficial, you will see that we deep fried our turkey, as we have done for a long time. And of course, we're safe, and we have our unitasker known as a fire extinguisher handy, adjacent to the experience. But it's a good time, good bird, great family and friends. It was overall a terrific experience. I'm tired, and I'm like just waking up from it. Like literally, like Joel woke me up to let me know that like it's Friday.
I usually write you the night before, but I'm like, it's Thanksgiving, I don't want to bother him. And then the day after, I'm like, well, he might just want to chill today too. I'll ask him anyway, just to make certain.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about getting the X-Men into the MCU, and it's funny because I feel like I've made this title so many times,
but not with me though.
Right. And I feel like we'll have opportunities to do this again.
Oh God, yeah.
Because I don't think the X-Men are going to be in the MCU within the next 2 years.
No, they're really in no rush, which there's something honestly a little refreshing about that, with Disney Marvel being like, no, we don't need another franchise yet. We got lots of other franchises we're bringing stuff out of. If we make a little less than $1 billion next time, maybe we'll get to work on the X-Men. And also, hey, the last guys who had X-Men, they kind of fucked it up a little bit, kind of muddied the waters. Maybe we need people to forget about it and miss it again. How can we miss you, X-Men, if you don't go away?
Right. I know that I was just thinking about the Fox X-Men franchise, and I was like, that's like an interconnected bunch of universe. Like that's a universe in and of itself of characters like from all walks of life with their own potential franchises all coming together. And then each time they made like an X-Men movie, it was kind of a big deal. But one of the major distinguishers, I think, like between that and the MCU, is that there was no like singular vision guiding the ship, and as such, the continuity was all over the place. The tones are all over the place.
Oh yeah,
like, there's no consistency outside of certain actors, and only the ones that like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, its only consistency was a lack of consistency. You're right.
Yeah, like that was the main consistency of the Fox X-Men. It was like you can be sure that they're gonna fuck something up continuity-wise by the next one. And I know that I'm sure some cynic is gonna be like, well, that's the hallmark of the X-Men, is that they're gonna fuck up continuity. It's like, no. They remember it all. Like that's why they're all so messed up, is because they're like a family. They're like, no, don't think I don't remember that time that you like either almost married or at least slept with one of my multiples. Like there's a lot of drama, and part of the fun is remembering it all and being part of that family. But
it also got quite desperate at the end there, to it's like, oh God, we got to keep making these, or they're going to take the rights back. We got to make one every year, even if it makes no sense. Even if we've introduced time travel and jumping ahead every couple of years, and even though we're going to burn through this cast and have to start over all again anyway.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what they do, but I want to keep an ear to the ground for what to watch out for.
Yeah.
What are some lessons to be learned? I mean, like, it's not every day that you get to play with toys and get to see how some other kid messed up playing with those toys for 20 years. So what are some lessons to be learned from the Fox X-Men that the MCU X-Men should absolutely not do? Joel, what do you think? Any thoughts?
Well, actually, no. Again, I have half a pitch here that we're going to script doctor, but on top of the pitch, I was also sure to put some mandates on myself.
Excellent. All right.
And one of the mandates is you can't Amazing Spider-Man this. You can't do lateral moves. You got to do new shit that we haven't seen before in the Fox movies.
So what you're suggesting is no Phoenix Saga.
No Phoenix, not right away. You gotta do a whole trilogy and prove you can't fuck it up. Maybe the next cycle of movies, you can make a big deal about Phoenix Saga. Also, too, keep it small is what I'm going to say. For the first movie, keep it to the original X-Men, Beast, Iceman, Jean, Cyclops, Angel. Keep it very small. Keep it to 5. I think we saw with Eternals. Yeah, big team movies are great and everything, but eventually if you got to introduce too many people, it becomes a bit of a slog and someone's going to get underserved. Also, too, and I kind of break this rule in my own thing is when we get into pitches, but make it an actual team movie, because that was a problem all those other X-Men movies had. They were really about Wolverine, and then they were really about Mystique is what they were. Basically, whoever was the most popular at the time and whose career was on the biggest upswing got an entire movie made about themselves to the detriment of everyone else. X-Men is a team book, team stories. Tell a team movie. We know you can.
Right, because people who love X-Men, they love them for their individual characters and they love their team aspect. And like part of the fun of being part of a fandom is the diversity of that fandom and the diversity of interests. And as a result, like you can have X-Men fans and they love Wolverine or Cyclops or Jean or Maggot. Like there's any number of fandom out there. And the hard part of cultivating that fandom and working on that property is paying not lip service, but rather paying homage and giving everyone their due, giving the audience the character moments that they desire for their favorite characters, or at the very least, giving them some equal time, some equal footing to present themselves, so that like people can at least know who they are. Like I don't think there are very many Cyclops fans, thanks to the Fox X-Men fan, or X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And that's too bad because I like James Marsden. I feel like he was the butt of the jokes because to make Wolverine look cool.
Oh, absolutely. He was the stick up his ass, killjoy, wet blanket.
Yeah.
And they kill him in the third one just to really hammer home how much he sucks.
Right. Kill him off screen practically, and we never really see him again. And people just don't really seem to miss him. It's like that, but Cyclops is such an integral part of the family. He's
the Captain America. He's the original son. Hell, I would argue they make it even worse in the next trilogy of films because they make Havoc the Cyclops stand-in by making him the older brother, not the younger brother.
Yep.
And then they kill them both off.
Yeah, it's really weak. It's really weak. By the way, we should also mention the show, if you're interested in watching the show live, is sponsored by you. If you want to help us out and be on the show, you can ask a question in the super chats and we'll read it here on the program. And you'll be part of the show for posterity until the end of time. But yeah, and if you want to help us out and you don't want to do that, don't worry about it. Participate in the chat because there's a lot of great conversation going on in there. But also make sure to subscribe. If you are here at youtube.com/ComicPop, make sure to subscribe because we're almost to 100,000 subscribers. It'd be really cool to get there. But also check out ComicPop Returns, where this kind of live show happens every week. So check us out there and make sure to subscribe and click those bells to get notified. Only because you'll get the push notification because YouTube is not going to tell you when these shows come out unless you tell them you want to be told. And the only way to do that is to have notifications turned on. So, Josh Wallabaugh says, Villain, what makes you think you can defeat me? Will you send more heroes? Wanda, no, more mutants.
That works.
Yeah, no. I don't think they're going to go the House of M route.
Not yet, anyway. Again, you do that 6 movies down the line.
Right? Cam Bowen, finally able to catch you guys live. Hope you guys had a great week. We did, man. How about you? Cowboy, hello, Joel and Sal. Hope all is well.
Hello.
Thank you, Cowboy. Hopefully you are doing well as well. Super Luisiac, shout out to Joel because why not?
Oh,
agreed. Why not? Rescue 9110, Days of Future Past, Dark Phoenix, and Apocalypse should each be a trilogy. I don't get why Fox is in such a hurry to burn up all their top resources.
It's true. If you do X-Men right, it can be you keep going back to 4 years. Like you think Avengers is going to keep paying your bills. No, X-Men can keep paying your bills if you do it right.
Right. I was watching the first episode of Hawkeye the other day, and what was it? There was a sequence where they kind of come back to the Avengers fight.
Yes.
And I was like, And I like it because I love that movie, and I also love like that kind of like interconnectivity of the
Super
universe.
cool just to see it restaged. It's like, oh yeah, we haven't really restaged this, I guess, since the
Since
Doctor Strange
Endgame.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
But to
Doctor
see it
Strange didn't
restaged
really.
on TV, you expect to see it restaged in a movie.
That's fair. That's fair. But it was fun to see. But I was like, man, they can mine the just the Battle of New York. Like we're seeing an alternate view of Battle of New York, and I'm like,
Mhm.
they could have done half of this in the Netflix shows.
I know, right? That's what I thought of. Like this is what we all kept waiting for in Luke Cage and Daredevil and everything, isn't? And here's Hawkeye giving it to you in the first 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes. Now, I will say the other thing, the thing that broke my heart the most about the Netflix shows and their lack of connectivity. Hulk destroys Harlem.
Harlem, and it's
We have a
never,
show
yeah.
set in Harlem, and I don't know if you're familiar, but like Harlem is a city of tradition.
Yeah.
Or not a city, but like a borough, a street of tradition and history. And
Mhm.
I feel like there would have been some kind of memorial
It
or
should
some
have been
kind
a
of
thing, and it wasn't a thing.
yeah, this like undercurrent of tension around heroes. Like it would have been really cool if they were like, "F you, Luke Cage." Another big, strong guy came through here and wrecked it.
Yeah. Also, too, you figure with the social commentary, too, it's like, yeah, no one cares what happens to Harlem. I wonder why.
Exactly. That would be really cool, and it's really weird they didn't do anything with it.
Missed opportunity.
Elizabeth Russell, hope you guys are. Hey guys, hope you're well. I am caught up on Hellions, and I was wondering if you
Yeah.
could recommend any X-Men titles that were similar to it.
Yeah, Rosenberg's X-Men from like the last run before Hickman was also a weird dark comedy with messed up characters, and Havoc was on that team too.
Yeah, I guess what was that X-Force book with Archangel and Deadpool and
Oh yeah.
yeah, where they all had blades.
Yes.
That's one I would check out. The Milkman, I think the X-Men can work in is if they came from a different dimension in the multiverse. Don't have to be from Fox. No more secret society stuff. So I've heard the theory a lot that like the multiverse is going to be the catalyst.
Right.
I'll be honest. When I was watching Eternals, I thought they were talking about energy and spikes and what was going to happen with like the baby Celestial, and I'm like, is this where they're going to do it? Are they going to do like the energy and make everyone mutants here?
Are they doing a Jason Aaron pastiche where it's like, well, yes, obviously Earth is a fertile ground for those with superpowers and mutations because literal gods live in the Earth's core.
Exactly. They didn't do that, but
not yet, anyway.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh, here we go. And I think that like they're aware of all the theories out there, so they'll probably try to subvert your expectations. Young Goku over 9,000. I'd love to dive back into X-Men, but we have Fantastic Four to introduce. No need to rush. X-Men is its own super franchise within Marvel. Team movie, definitely. I agree.
It's very true, and also endless spin-off potential, like so much. Like you could have X-Men movies, you could have a Wolverine Weapon X franchise and cross them over later. In fact, when I was writing my own pitch that we're going to talk about later, that's what I wrote as. It's like, now Wolverine is its own thing. We work up to the Wolverine X-Men crossover even when they eventually meet. Hey, the school, man, endless possibility for just the school. That's the Disney Plus show right there, X-Men Academy.
Yeah, X-Men Academy is a show. That's all you need. And yeah, like you said, this could be its own practical universe. And not that we're talking multiverses and reality, so I'm not talking about that specifically. I'm saying an X-Men family of movies and franchises that are irrespective. I was watching TikTok and Moose mentioned that he thinks that the X-Men work best when they are as far removed from the Marvel universe as possible. So like MCU connections should be really tenuous at best. And I don't necessarily agree wholeheartedly, but I do agree that like the X-Men should feel like its own thing over here. And then when you remember that they're connected, it's like a really fun,
a big deal.
It's like a big surprise and a really big deal.
I mean, when Wolverine eventually joins whatever new incarnation of the Avengers that they have, that's got to be a big special moment because everyone's wanted to see it.
I'm telling you, man, see, when we're talking about pitches, I think that you could have your cake and eat it too when it comes to exploitation of franchise, crossover, and fan service without even touching the X-Men.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I think you could just introduce Wolverine. Like, before you even have an X-Men plan, you could do a Wolverine movie.
I mean, they did just introduce Spider-Man, didn't they, in Civil War?
He
And
just
everyone was
shows
super
the
down
hell
with it.
up. Yeah, and no one was like, what? Everyone was excited. I'm not necessarily saying that Wolverine should show up in an Avengers movie, but I do think that if you were to shoehorn Wolverine into an upcoming team movie or some kind of big event, that would be the way to introduce, like, okay, mutants are here, and they've been here, because Wolverine is old.
Time.
Like, Wolverine is old. Hell, Wolverine never joined the X-Men. Wolverine's just been operating as Wolverine for this long. Then you could do your Chris Evans stuff by being like, okay, Wolverine fought in World War II. Here's a scene with Captain America and Wolverine. Like, you could do the shot from that Jim Lee cover of Cap, Wolverine, and Black Widow. Like,
which is a great cover.
In a flashback.
Actually, hey, speaking of that cover of them all standing together, Wolverine, Captain America, Black Widow, that was Uncanny X-Men 268, right?
I assume.
Okay, so
I
in that
don't remember the numbers.
So in the Hawkeye show, The Watch, they're like Avengers Manor, number 268.
Yes, it was 268, by the way.
So isn't that funny that they put 268 there?
Yeah.
That specific number in the Hawkeye show.
Right? Well, Hawkeye, it's interesting what Marvel is doing with respect to introducing characters and kind of going further than I would have expected. Like, there's a lot less reservation than they had. Where it's like, I think Civil War kind of blew the lid off of it, where
Absolutely.
the Russos went, we want Spider-Man. And they're like, we've been literally... Like, the MCU is predicated on the fact we don't have him.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Literally, the MCU exists because we don't have Spider-Man. So, and you just want to put him in the movie. Like, you want to bridge a gap between arguably a dying studio and a fledgling expanding studio. Like, that's what you want to do. And they're like, yes.
We're the Russos. It's what we do, baby.
Right. Like, we came from Community. We dare.
Yeah, we do dare.
And then they did it. And then they put in Black Panther because they were like, well, what if the Spider-Man thing doesn't work out? We'll introduce Black Panther and Spider-Man, get 2 franchises out of it.
Yeah.
And by then they went, I guess we could just put everybody in these movies. Like, I guess we could just do everything.
And also still make a pretty damn good movie on top of that, too.
Yes. Somehow Civil War manages to have these, like, fan moments like Tony Stark in Peter Parker's apartment and not make it feel like it was like, what the fuck is this doing in here? Like, this is really tacked on. You hear that a lot about MCU movies nowadays, where it's like, oh, that was really tacked on. And in a Spider-Man movie that's coming out where, like, Godzilla's going to be in it, the Iron Giant's going to appear.
Yeah.
That's going to be the real litmus test
the
for,
ghost
like,
of Tupac.
Yeah, what's tacked on. But yeah, I think Wolverine. I think start with Wolverine because, look, you want him in there anyway. And if you want to have your first class or your original team, wait. Don't. Like, X-Men's over there, Wolverine's over here, as he always has been.
Yeah, and it's a good way, too, to where it's like, yeah, this is a period piece. We don't have to explain how any of the mutant stuff connects or makes sense yet, because like you said, Wolverine is old. We're just doing Wolverine origins in a movie form, because that's a cool story, right?
Yeah. No. Well, it depends on which Wolverine origin you're talking about. The movie? No.
No, that one. The comic.
Hell, here's a Wolverine movie pitch for you. When you get the Hulk Universal rights back, that's when you introduce Wolverine.
Yes. Oh my God.
Hulk movie.
Damn, that is so good. As he was originally intended. Hey, here's Wolverine. He's the antagonist of the next Hulk movie. Wait, what? Yeah, because that's how it was. And here's, freaking what is it? Just Windsor it up.
Yep. Just Windsor it up. Hell, oh my God. You go with Wolverine shows up. He's the antagonist in the Hulk movie. Hulk is it's post She-Hulk. Banner is, in the back seat. Savage Hulk has emerged.
Living in the wilderness.
He's tearing up the wilderness. You can introduce Wendigo.
Oh my God.
You can introduce Wolverine. You could introduce, because Wolverine is working for Department X or whatever, like whatever they've retconned he was working for during Hulk 181.
The Dr. Cornelius guys. We'll put them in there because we didn't do Dr. Cornelius in any of the other movies.
You could do Dr. Cornelius. You know who else could show up in your Hulk movie if you're going to introduce that aspect? Friggin' Deadpool.
Yeah, you really could. Or you got to at least put a reference in, if nothing else.
You could put a little Deadpool in there.
Department K is really breathing down our neck these days. Department K, I thought that was a joke.
Yeah, right? That's all you need. But that way you're just like, oh. And it does it in a Marvel way where it's like, I know Hulk. I know the universe. I know the like history and the baggage that is associated with him. Now Wolverine, now mutants, and the history. And then you could have a history of, we don't even make Wolverine movies. Wolverine just shows up in other people's movies.
He's the ultimate freelancer.
He's the ultimate
free agent.
Right? So when he does inevitably show up in an X-Men movie, which we will build on down the line, it doesn't feel like, what? Wolverine? It's more like, well, yeah, Wolverine's going to show up in this. Or knowing Feige and those people, he doesn't.
Yeah. but we have that carrot at the end of the stick, but you want to see it right, because he might, though.
You know you will. Like, especially when you do introduce the X-Men and Cyclops, and you build up Cyclops.
Absolutely.
And so you have the leader of the X-Men, and you love him, and he is, like, to a lot of people, kind of a stick in the mud, but because you've you cast a charismatic actor and you've given him his due, and there is no Wolverine around to push him around, he's Cyclops, and everyone's
now you
just
have instant drama. Now you got a picture.
Well, you've got a picture because you got Cyclops in your movie, in your X-Men movie, and you're building Wolverine over there, Cyclops and the X-Men over here. So you're like, oh my god. It's like when you when you saw the Avengers movie and you're like, I can't wait to see Tony Stark interact with like Thor.
Yeah, a guy with a god complex next to an actual Norse god.
Right. And it was satisfying. I can't wait to see Tony Stark interact with Bruce Banner. In this, it's like, I can't wait to see Cyclops and Wolverine meet.
And it's going to be huge. Yeah, that's
basically the
idea I had with my pitch.
All right, let's hear it.
Because no joke, for my thing there, I wanted Cyclops to be the POV character. It's a team movie, but I kind of cheated because I think, Cyclops was so underserved in all those other movies. He's a great fertile character to kind of build new ground with, and actually build it on stone instead of shifting sands.
Yes, absolutely.
And the way I want to start it, because again, we got to show cool shit that none of the other movies and none of the other X-Men stuff touched. I want to open with the Summers plane crash. I want that to be our big action scene that gets us in. It's all kind of mysterious because, Scott, he's a kid. He doesn't remember what happened. He hits his head after. It's something that every X-Men fan knows, every X-Men fan loves. And it's a great way to set up this character because, he has to save his brother Alex, right? That's the big thing. Hits the ground, hits his head, loses control of his powers. When he wakes up, he's separated from Alex, and that's going to be his thrust for the movie going forward. I need to find my brother.
It's his Bucky.
Yeah, it's his Bucky. I need to find my brother, and also because, as we said before, X-Men is this team drama. It's a story about, found family and found community and everything, and I think that needs to be Cyclops' character journey, because by the end he doesn't find Alex, but he finds a home anyway.
Right? May I play with that? Because it's like,
sure.
He wants to find his brother, and you could do a cut where it's years later, and he's in the X-Men, and he's with Professor Xavier. That's his new father figure. All this stuff, and like, you don't even really see that like longing for his brother, but there's a sequence where he's superficially moved on.
Yeah.
Because the audience doesn't know who Alex really is and doesn't care. Like, they're not interested in watching another Winter Soldier dragged out over 10 years.
Of course.
But you have that undercurrent there because you have Xavier say something like, I know that you really want to find your brother. And, I promise you we're doing everything we can. Something that alludes to, I know what you're thinking, because I'm psychic and stuff.
Absolutely.
But, allows for Cyclops to have the freedom to, pursue romances, lead teams, do his thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking off the top of my head now where, I said father figure for Xavier, but his literal father is Corsair. The fact that you could do a Starjammers movie without missing a beat. You could do a Starjammers movie first. You don't even need to introduce the X-Men. You could just do a Starjammers movie. I don't think there's any mutants on the Starjammers.
No, all aliens.
So, and Corsair's a human.
Sure is.
So, you could introduce the Starjammers as a kind of alternate to, because Gunn's leaving after Guardians 3.
Yeah.
And
so you need a new high-flying, swashbuckling space team.
Yeah. If they were smart, they'd be like, Gunn, can you like, while you're developing 3, could you introduce the Starjammers?
Please.
Right? Like, as
Pretty
a kind of like,
please.
we're just going to transition from you to them. Especially since like Drax is leaving, they're probably going to kill at least one other person. You know. Anyway, but yeah, Starjammers, and I loved the introduction in the X-Men animated series of X Factor,
Yeah.
where they just show up, and Cyclops and Havoc don't recognize each other
Yeah, it's a
because
good
the last
moment.
time they saw each other was when they were children. You could have that be like, no, there is an X Factor somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a way out of it. Another thing I kind of fell into, it's like, well, shit, but it's Xavier has a Cerebro, so he would look, and I would think maybe, like our bittersweet ending.
Oh, yeah.
Our bittersweet ending of the movie is, Xavier, because this is early on in their career. He gets Cerebro looking for Alex. He's like, I couldn't find him, Scott. I'm sorry. I mean, that either means he's dead or his mutant powers haven't manifested yet.
Or he doesn't have a mutant, or he's not a mutant.
Or he's not a mutant yet. We'll keep looking, but I'm sorry. And and that's Scott's kind of moment of like, okay, well,
let me move on.
Yeah, let me move on. Now I know I tried to. I have my found family in the X-Men. We've built a home together here. I also because all the other movies, like in that last run, we're like, oh, well, we got to build up to Mr. Sinister because he's the last villain we had. Yeah. I'm not going to do that, but I do want some scenes of Scott in the orphanage. I think in the original it was called like the State Home for Foundlings or something.
Yep.
In Omaha, Nebraska. Maybe we'll call it like the State Home for Boys. We won't call it the Essex Institute. We won't be dropping anything to that just yet. But I want to have some scenes in the orphanage because I want young Scott, who maybe he's 16 in this, because again, the X-Men were really young when they started him. There's nothing that says they don't have to be young in this too, because it's a franchise. We'll grow with them. We'll build with it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing I think that Marvel started to care about around Spider-Man and then stopped after Multiverse, where they were like, oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm concerned that the X-Men are going to be too old by the time we start.
Absolutely.
That they're going to cast anyone they want for Fantastic Four and be like, nah, we're not going to go Ultimate Fantastic Four. We're just going to cast whoever,
So that's my mandate. Try and keep it nice and young. Also, too, if you have Scott in the orphanage, you can have him be bullied by fun cameos like the Nasty Boys, Ruckus, Slab, Gorgeous George, Hairbag, and Multiple Man, who, because it's a team thing, I'm like, okay, we got to set them up now so they can be weird henchmen of the real villain later on in the movie, because, obviously we need, bad guys for them to fight. Nasty Boys work for Sinister. Maybe that's the post-credit. Ruckus gets a call from like his real benefactor and being like, what happened?
Right. No, that'd be great.
I'm sorry, sir.
I love the idea, especially of what you're building towards, which was, of course, that Professor X knows where Alex is, and he's just keeping it to himself.
That's the thing, too. See, I want to play with that idea that the other movies never really did, and that is Professor X is kind of an asshole.
The last, 4 X-Men movies were like, everyone treats Professor X like an asshole. They're like, you asshole. And it's like, yeah...
But he's sweet old Patrick Stewart.
Right, but he needs to be sympathetic. I don't know. I could imagine you really... I mean, they already did it with the Fox franchise, where they were like, you trust him. And then they pull the rug out from under you later.
Yeah. I would also say, too, that, these whole movies take place during 2008 is when the movie begins. That's when the plane crashes, because it's our kind of way... To do it, parallel to what's happening in Iron Man and the rest of the universe. And honestly, my pitch for Professor X in these movies is make him like a weird fringe academic. He's like doing the early podcast circuit and everything. Yeah. They don't think he's a crackpot, but they certainly don't believe all his far out ideas about mutation and the atom and everything else there. And he's talking about like, oh, I'm going to start a special place for mutants, people like us. Maybe not a school. Maybe he hasn't quite settled on that yet, but I want to build, community amongst mutant kind. And like a young Cyclops hears this and figures, oh, well, I'm getting all these weird headaches and stuff, and all these weird fires are starting. Maybe I am a mutant. Maybe I should try and look this Professor X guy up. Maybe he can help me find my brother.
I'd love to see that and cut to the chase by having Professor X be like, sounds like a good idea in his head, like,
Yeah. Oh,
Cyclops
that's
wants
really
to go
good.
on this journey, and Professor X is like, I've been kind of kicking you towards this journey my entire time.
Okay,
Like,
you just fixed a huge problem with my pitch here because I'm like, okay, but if he's in Omaha, Nebraska, how the hell
how's
does
he going to get to Westchester?
How does he get to Westchester exactly? Does Xavier come to look him up? No, that doesn't make sense. No, I want this to be a movie as much about Cyclops deciding to be Cyclops and, take that character journey, but also I kind of want it to be a character journey for Xavier too, where it's like, oh, I have to be the guy this kid thought I was. I have to, be the clean-cut, respectable professor, not this weird, like, Duncan Trussell podcaster weirdo with far-out ideas.
Right, because he's going to be, I know his mind. He's going to be disappointed. He's not going to listen to me.
So I have to like create I'm not just Xavier anymore. I have to create Professor X myself.
Yeah. Mr. Ketch says, thanks for another year of back issues. I listen to Amazon's Attack at least once a week. Also, Rogue, the villain in the next Captain Marvel movie. Love that idea.
Historical precedent for it. I know a lot of people have been pitching that idea.
Right. Cat Lawyer will defend for treats. I just want a short, hairy, kind of gross Wolverine. I don't want a gross Wolverine, but I do want I'd love a shorter Wolverine. I want a Wolverine that like seems a little scarier.
Absolutely.
Dan V900, James Marsden did get screwed in doing Superman Returns, led to that early X3 off-screen death. Film needs to have like 6 or 7 heroes max to start. Yeah, I agree with that. Thenura Ravindra says, do not milk on Charles Magneto Wolverine in the MCU, although you could bring back past actors via multiverse to avoid the problem of rebooting Holocaust survivor Magneto in the 2020s.
Yeah.
I feel like Ian McKellen is just too damn old. Like,
he is.
You could... there's no good MCU explanation for having him be a Holocaust survivor.
I mean, we'll get there later. I'll maybe steal an idea from X-Men Evolution that is, no, see, I stole a crimson gem of Cyttorak, which I use every so often, like every 50 years, to age myself down again.
Cosmic Reader, still find it weird that Marvel Studios decided to revive a cartoon first before putting X-Men continuity.
It's interesting, isn't it? That's what inspired me to like maybe do this pitch, because it's like, yeah, maybe we'll learn what Disney Marvel want to do by watching the new cartoon, which is
I'm telling you, man, I think the cartoon, the reason why X-Men 97 is going to be a thing is because Disney Plus was and an experiment, but also the plan, like Disney's plan, which was to destroy Netflix, and which for the life of me, I don't understand why. It'd be like wanting to destroy a warehouse that distributes content. But like, I understand that like for them, they have like, now it's closed end-to-end metrics. Like you'll never know how a show does except by seeing on Disney Plus that like a show didn't work out.
Yeah.
There is no revival for the Christopher Daniel Barnes Spider-Man show, which suggests to me that fewer people watched that than watched the X-Men animated series. And the other thing is I think that people who work at Marvel Studios also like it.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not? It's arguably the second greatest superhero cartoon of all time. And when the first one is Batman, that ain't half bad.
So, yeah, I'm thinking that X-Men, the animated series, was the gateway for most people into the X-Men at all. And Marvel's like, you can't really... Like, it costs a lot to buy or manufacture that level of connectivity and nostalgia.
True.
And so, if we can get away with making another show that, like, re-energizes the aging fan base that brought into this by getting like 30-somethings and their children with this cartoon show. That'll be the gateway.
It helps too that the last couple seasons were bad when they moved animation to the Philippines, so they'll love it even more if we say those last couple weren't canon and just go from there.
Exactly. Dan back to say the X-Men never quite work for me with the other Marvel characters other than Spider-Man because of the bigotry compared to the Avengers and Fantastic Four. It's tougher. It depends on what you're reading, and they're not all great. Like the fact is, they're not every X-Men into the Marvel Universe story is very good, and it's tough to use.
Absolutely.
So Khalif Frederick says, "You guys think a Star Jammers MCU movie could work?"
Oh yes. God, yeah. Oh yeah, they're going to want a Guardians replacement, like you said. We can't leave space.
And listen, I pitched the Starjammers movie as a you should make that after Guardians. I don't really have a favorite Starjammer story.
No, me either. They're
Like,
just a cool concept.
they're a cool concept. They're space fair. It's Firefly in space. That's enough for me. Like, if you just go like, we're making Starjammers, here's the characters, here's their character bios, make Firefly with these characters.
Yeah.
That's all you need. And hey, Disney Plus, since Disney's all in on that, maybe Starjammers could be a show.
Yeah.
Ethan Ainsworth, been a bit since I've been able to donate. Thanks for a great 6 years, Sal. You weren't sure what happened at the end of What If, in case no one else said. Nat went to episode 3 where the Avengers died.
Oh, that's sad.
Okay. I'm not sure about that, but I'm willing to give you that one. Rusky 910, until they bring X-Men Wolverine, can they just be another shot at the super soldier serum? His memories are gone, so Sam and Bucky can find him, and he doesn't know he's a mutant and thinks it's a serum.
It's
you
an
could
option.
do it. That's like an Ultimate Origins kind of Wolverine.
Yeah.
I want a Wolverine who's already established, because no one's going to want to watch a Wolverine who like doesn't know who he like. The amnesiac Wolverine bit gets old.
After a while, it certainly does.
MNNM says, which suits do you want them to introduce them with? The OG yellow suits, the Claremont era individual designs, or an amalgamation of everything? I don't know. Joel, did you have a pitch for this?
I really didn't, but the more I think about it, because again, I want to go back to the original 5 and build from there, because again, don't burn through it like Fox did. I'm thinking, you start with the most original suits, their uniforms, and then as the series evolves, everyone gets more individualized suits.
Well, especially when people start leaving or joining different teams. Yeah, absolutely. I like the idea of that.
It's good for merch too, because it's like, remember when Cyclops got his first like original costume? It's like when Nightwing got his first original costume. You want that variant, you want that figure.
That's true. I mean, look at the Eternals figures that are going to be significantly discounted on the shelves. They all have costumes.
They do.
And they all have figures, and they're not especially exciting costumes, but they still have them, damn it, and you can buy their figure.
Sure do. So you fixed a huge problem with my pitch here, and that is that Xavier nudges Scott along to come meet him in Westchester. And I'm thinking my idea too is like, the school is only half built. My thing is, because we're not going to have Magneto in this. We're not going to blow our Magneto wad right away. Good. Xavier will mention, I had a partner, I had a benefactor, but we had a falling out over what we thought the school should be. He wanted to train soldiers, I wanted to train students, and we had a falling out at that point. And again, we make reference to him again. We maybe won't do Magneto for like 3 movies.
Exactly. No, I love the idea of hiding Magneto. May I pitch a villain for the MCU X-Men that starts off?
Absolutely. I had one too, but let's hear what you got to say first.
The Hellfire Club.
Okay, because they did the Hellfire Club already. I know it was kind of like a different version of it, but still.
No. Like the Hellfire Club being a kind of Skull's elite 1%er kind of group that exists to be like, it would mirror, because the MCU loves to take like, what if the hero had a villain that was just like the hero?
Sure.
The Hellfire Club is another school, but it's not. But it's a hedonistic sex club for mutants,
who we often recruit amazing people. We have always known that mutants exist, because I think that's the tack I want to take with this, where it's like vampires in Blade. There's always been an underground society of mutants. They just never had a name for themselves. They never had a community. Again, if Scott has to go from Omaha to upstate New York, he should catch a train like he did in the comics. He should ride the rails and see that there is this like fringe society.
Absolutely, because let me tell you something. Like, when they make the Blade movie, they're not going to say that like the Thanos snap created vampires.
No,
They're not going to say that Scott Lang's van exploded and created a portal and vampires poured out of it. They're going to say that vampires always existed and we just didn't notice, because vampires are like hedonistic douche nozzles.
And because people have been so obsessed with Iron Man and everything else. In fact, I think that's your way out of it for the mutants too.
Yes.
Where like Scott asked Professor X, well, why the hell doesn't the world know? Why haven't you announced yourself? You have the powers of a god. And you have him sitting there and he's all haggard and everything. Maybe he's pouring a drink and he's like, you just don't understand, Scott. The world isn't ready yet for us. And then maybe you see a thing on the TV of like, an Iron Man went to a fictional Middle Eastern nation and blew up all those tanks. And Scott's like, but maybe it's time they're ready.
Right, exactly. Or like, maybe it doesn't matter if it's time or not.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that. But yeah, I wanted like the Hellfire Club to be kind of like a mirror evil Professor X school, where it's like Professor X is trying to build the school, and he's like, yeah, this is working out. And then like you find out about the Hellfire Club, but not like that.
Yeah. It also means you get to have Sebastian Shaw and Emma and like all those other very fun characters.
They're very fun characters. You can keep them around. You can introduce Emma early. Maybe Scott's like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
But also you don't like do Apocalypse in the first movie. Like you do characters where it's like Sebastian Shaw, you could throw him away.
See, that's fun because then it becomes almost like a frat movie, like, damn you, Hellfire House.
Yeah. Now, and this is hard to do. This is just logistically speaking, this would be hard to do. But, is there a way that you could you know how like we like to see the Avengers battle at the, you know, different angles?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Is there a way for us to do the Hellfire Club movie where the X-Men are fighting the Hellfire Club, but Wolverine's fighting the Hellfire Club from down here? And they just miss each other.
Oh, that's fun. You definitely could, because Sebastian Shaw has a big house with a lot of secret passages.
Exactly. Plus, you get those fun, like, you know, those shy guys that they fight.
Oh yeah. You got to get the henchmen in. If you do Hellfire Club, you got to do the comic accurate henchmen.
Yeah. Tevye wants to know how we're going to add Laura and Laura and Gabby. I wouldn't.
Next phase. That's X-Men: The Next Generation.
Yeah, that's the Hawkeye show equivalent of the Wolverine show.
We'll get there. Assume everything you like, we'll get to eventually.
Exactly. Thanura Ravindra put the Starjammers and Cyclops plus Havoc's dad. Yeah, that's the plan, man. Ethan Ainsworth, Joel, Sal isn't drinking Diet Coke, maybe an LMD. I'm drinking Coke Zero, which I always do. I never drink Diet Coke. And player 693MROR. Okay. Anyone else sick of the idea that mutants need some explanation as to where they've been in the MCU? Yes.
The answer
yes,
is,
love you both. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
The answer is they probably won't, because just like Eternals, it's like, yeah, they were there, but they were living in secret.
Right, Eternals. People are like mad that they were like, how come they didn't get involved? I'm like, have you ever been a person?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a thing that's too big for you to involve yourself in, or something that you could easily help but didn't do anything about? Like,
yeah. It's almost like that's a thrust of the movie, them constantly bickering about all the things they should have gotten involved in but didn't, and it's almost like that's the thing that breaks them up in the movie.
Yeah, it's almost like that's actually what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Jam Call X, they can say that X genes come from celestial seeds, mutations happening very slowly, trickle by the beginning of the atomic age until the snap, blip, emergence. Yeah, they could do all that, or they could not bother, because one thing I'm very not interested in is hearing about where mutants come from. It was one of the most disappointing things about Ultimate Origins. It's one of the most disappointing things about like any X-Men story is like, where did they come from though? I'm like,
it's so true. I love mutants, but I hate the explanation every time.
I don't want to know.
It's better when you don't. Stan Lee had it right. They're fucking born that way.
Yeah. What? I'm moving on. I made them. They're born with it. I'm sick of coming up with radioactive bullshit.
Yeah, and raised, they were born that way. Now, I like your Hellfire Club pitch, but again, my thing is like, maybe they're too big for the first one. Maybe the sequel we do Hellfire Club. I'm thinking, again, because we got a Marvel movie method this, you don't get AAA villains right away.
No.
I'm thinking for the first movie, they actually end up fighting Nanny and Orphan Maker because they're weird and unlike anything else we've seen. Yes. And they're not like such a massive threat that you could believe a bunch of teenage X-Men on their first mission could beat them. And it also ties into that, found family thing, because obviously Nanny's plot is she's going around kidnapping X-Men. She kidnaps the nasty boys and puts them in tubes and indoctrinates them. And so it's like this whole kind of thing of like Scott and Xavier going, there has to be a better way for our people, for mutants, than like shitty orphanages and shitty nannies and everything. We have to build a better way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want to do like, you don't want to go too big, and you don't want to retread. You got to do something totally off the wall and different. I thought you were going to suggest Juggernaut, but I love that idea of Nanny and Orphan Maker.
Again, Juggernaut was in Deadpool. I got to do something people have never seen before.
And he was in that X-Men 3 movie, too. He was in two different movies, two different Juggernauts. And
it's so hard, because when I look at all the X-Men threats, I'm like, can't do Apocalypse, can't do Sublime, can't do, who's Xavier's sister, who like was
Cassandra Nova?
Yeah, can't do Cassandra Nova. That's too big, though. I think we should do Cassandra Nova at some point, because it's never been done.
Yeah, you could do Bastion, but like, who cares? That's just William Stryker again from the movies.
Exactly. Again, I don't want to do evil robots. I can't do Sentinels right away.
I would like to see Sentinels though.
Like we'll get to Sentinels.
But and by the way, apropos of my side project Wolverine movie that's running alongside this, or maybe before all this.
Absolutely.
First, it was because you got Wolverine in your X-Men or in your Hulk movie.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to do a Wolverine movie. Can we please put Omega Red in this movie?
Naturally. That's Wolverine 2. Wolverine 2 from Russia with hate. It's got to be him versus Omega Red.
Because I think Omega Red is so cool looking, and
sure is.
The comic books are so afraid to use him. I don't know if you noticed recently, like every time like they've used him no fewer than 2 different covers this year.
Sure have.
And he's on like 2 pages.
That's the funny thing. In the new X-Men book, he's like a weird triple agent with the vampires getting punked out by every side in this mutants versus vampires war.
Like, what? What? No.
he is this endless butt monkey, and also like his whole thing, like, oh, I need to eat. Well, I guess I don't need to eat anymore because the vampires fixed that. All right.
Right. Okay, thanks. LJR 16. I think a good team for the first movie will be Cyclops, Jean, Iceman, Beast, not Blue, Nightcrawler, and Kitty Pryde. Good balance. I like that idea of merging the Cockrum and the Kirby.
You might have to do that because also you don't want Jean to be the only woman on the team because you're gonna get think pieces written about you then, and you can't have that.
Well, you get the fun of, because I remember one of the approaches of Giant Size X-Men was like, let's diversify the team. Let's get a bunch of different people from different backgrounds. And it's like, that's what X-Men is. But also, like, that's what the world is now.
Sure is.
So you get the marching orders from Giant Size with the history of X-Men. Though, I will say, just like as a little bit of meta commentary, I'm concerned that Marvel is just kind of like, the fact that Marvel's making an X-Men animated series sequel, the fact the X-Men animated sequel was the fact that the X-Men animated series was so successful. I'm wondering, are they just going to do that?
That's what I think. I don't think they should. I think you should build up to those characters eventually. Again, keep it small.
I don't think Gambit should be in the Phoenix Saga. Like,
oh, come on, Marshall. It's me, Gambit.
I mean, I love Gambit. And
same.
Like, it would be cool to see, not with Channing freaking Tatum in a solo movie.
Yeah, Channing Tatum's just sitting by the phone like they're going to call me any day now.
They're never going to call you, you weird dude. Why do you want to be Gambit so bad?
I mean,
you don't even look like him.
No, he really doesn't.
Can you do the accent? I bet you can't. The derpiest of derps. Fun idea for 90s kids would be having Jubilee be the front line of the X-Men Academy Disney Plus show. I love the idea of Jubilee. I think she works. I also like the idea, though, going back to the other comment of Kitty Pryde being, because Kitty Pryde was the first Jubilee.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of Kitty Pryde being like, welcome to the X-Men. Hope you've survived the experience. Like, that'd be kind of fun.
It is.
To be a show. But yeah, Jubilee would be great. Jubilee's such a fun character, and they never really give her due.
It's true. This is also another problem with my pitch, and what I hope that you and maybe the chat could help me figure this out. So far, Act 1 of this movie is very Scott and Xavier heavy.
Right.
To the point where I'm like, fuck, am I writing an X-Men movie or am I writing Cyclops, the first X-Men?
Right, which no one's going to see. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely not. It's funny. I was thinking, like, but what are movies that get big cast together really quickly? I thought of the Ocean's 11 movie. I thought of all these heist movies. I also thought of that Beatles movie Across the Universe that also introduces like 5 characters from different parts of the country and has them all, converge in New York during this big time in history. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a musical, though. They literally sing their character in what they want in 3 minutes and then they're done. How do we do that in an X-Men movie? How do we get Jean and Beast and Angel and Iceman all here?
I think you merge them. I think you merge Giant Size and Original so that they need to go. You could do Krakoa, but I think Krakoa might be a little too esoteric.
Yeah, it is.
But
a little much.
I think you do what Ant-Man tried to do, and you tie it in with my Hellfire Club.
Okay.
The Hellfire Club has something that Xavier needs,
right?
And they need to pull off a heist, and we need to accelerate the plan. The plan of getting my team together.
Got to step it up.
So he calls together a group of remarkable people who can all do the job, like a teleporter.
And Xavier can mind whammy them and talk to them, so that helps a lot.
Right, that's a good shortcut. But like you have Cyclops like who volunteered to go, and he's like, "Where's everybody?" And Xavier's like, "You're the first one."
Yeah, you're the only one.
Yeah, it's just us, dude. And he's like, "Oh," and then like you see them work and bond and grow, and like maybe Jean too. I don't know how you introduce Jean because Jean's really important and needs
She
to be
really isn't. She needs a big moment. And I'm like, well, was Jean there already is the thing. Did Jean meet Scott there?
I love that idea.
Yeah, is that so when he opens the door, she's the first one he sees because you gotta sell that moment. The first
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Like she's always one-upping him, like, yeah, I got the message after you, but I was the first here.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I beat you. And I always beat you.
Forever and ever. It's like, I am in love right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. All I've wanted is for a woman to tell me what to do. Thank you. You're it. But yeah, that's it. Anyway, so we'll get into that. Dan V900, all they need to do is say there's some BS that Magneto's power somehow slowed his aging, which I think happened in X-Men Black. Just
I think they did too.
Yeah, probably.
The magnetic pull of the earth and
slowed my blood. Yeah. New type JB Lee, one X-Men member I want to see in the MCU dust, aka Sunraya Kadir. A better execution of her origin, and I want her intact with Kamala. Also, brown girl rep. True.
She would be perfect for X-Men Academy. She could be like a POV character for X-Men Academy.
Hell, she's the throwaway. Like Jubilee can join some other time, or she's in
there. That's fine too. Like completely updated for 2021.
Right. Kasanga Cherry Clark. Which X-Men friendships do we preserve for Spider-Man? Not sure if Holland's Peter would blend too well with Wolverine, but maybe a Nightcrawler. Maybe even ultimate this up with Iceman and Torch. Who would you guys want? Great question.
Cast a fun Iceman actor to be friends with Spider-Man. Amazing friends, even, you could say.
Dude, I mean, if you could get an Amazing Friends reference, if Dan Slott would just clap and fall out of his chair.
Yeah, and die happy.
But I mean, I really want to see like Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine.
That would be fun and really unexpected. But then again, the Marvel Universe is made on so many unexpected casting choices, all the way back to Robert Downey Jr. Did anyone think he would be the biggest thing?
Right? But I really want to see like Wolverine and Spider-Man interacting. Like, I want to see that, like, ew, you're so gross. I don't want to be with you. Like, I hate you.
Come on, kid. Let's go drinking.
Let's murder people and drink booze. I don't do either of those things. I find you utterly repugnant.
I'm underage. I'll put hair on your chest, kid. Drive fast.
You look younger than me. I know.
Weird, right?
Yeah. I probably get more tail than you.
Dumb dish. Actually, hey, who? Again, as we're talking about, like, who would be good casting? Who was that kid from the Solo movies? Ansel Elgort.
Oh, Anton. No, that. I don't. You mean Solo?
Yeah, Solo. Who's the Solo? I could see him actually making a fairly decent Cyclops or Iceman.
Oh yeah, Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah,
that sounds like I made it up.
Sounds like they grew him in a fucking lab.
He'd be fine. I'd be okay with that.
Because again,
he's not trying to be Harrison Ford.
Exactly. Like, it seemed like he was slated for big things, but spent a lot of time just trying to inhabit Harrison Ford. I think he could be a good Cyclops, and he has experience being the leading man of what was supposed to be a franchise, but then didn't become a franchise.
That's fair. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
I could see him in that role. Maybe they got to like break in to the Hellfire Clubhouse. It's like, oh, there's this secret society of rich people.
Oh. They stole Cerebro.
Oh, yes. Boom. Yes. Hey, Xavier, what happened to your Cerebro? Oh, well, Sebastian Shaw and his guys came. They beat me up, pushed me out of my chair, and stole my Cerebro.
Dude, that's why there's no X-Men. Oh, I called Jean, I called Cyclops, so they took my Cerebro. I can't call it. They
took my shit. That is excellent. That is that's beautiful.
So they and that also, you don't talk about Magneto at all. You talk about how, like, they took this. I need this thing. We need this thing, and like, he doesn't even admit it was stolen. He's just like, we need this thing, and you're going to go in here to get it. And it's like, it's Cerebro. They know that he had, like, they're going to use it. The Hellfire Club wants to use it. Give it to Emma.
And they know they're going to make a fortune with it. Yeah.
Well, and get more people and control their minds and take their money and have sex with them. And And at the end, like, we see what it is. Like, we see it's Cerebro, and they're like, "How did you make that?"
I
Like,
had help.
he just winks at you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a story for another time. Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
That's great. And we need Cerebro because Scott wants to find his brother, but also we need to find these kids that Nanny and Orphan Maker have
Dude.
kidnapped. So that's like your act 2 big
Dude,
action scene.
He says, like, it's like the crap, what? It's like friggin' Anakin and Palpatine. Where it's like, come with me, I'll help you find your brother. And it's like, oh, but before we can find your brother, I'm going to need this special thing that these guys stole.
That's so beautiful and totally the Xavier I want to build this. Kind of an asshole, kind of a shyster, kind
Right?
of
Like, he's not wrong, but like but like you think you know better than me. Like, yeah.
And again, it's the power dynamic. Who's the child? Who's the teacher here? You've got us running errands for you already,
right?
You know, it's a team building exercise. You see, to get back my stuff that was stolen.
Right. And it's like that'd be kind of fun, especially with. And we're gonna need somebody who we're gonna need some people, and we're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way because I don't have my special thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's amazing. And also,
so the first act is just meeting people.
And my psychic powers won't work on the Hellfire Club because Emma's a powerful psychic. She's young. She's like a teenager, and she's already almost as powerful as me. Shaw already beat me up once.
Yeah, he beat the crap out of me. And I don't. And they'll have Cerebro, so they'll be stronger than me, which also allows them to nerf Xavier, who could end the conflict in a minute.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. This is amazing, Sal. We figured, and there's our big act 2. We got a break in here, all like frat warfare style from these rich D-bags. Well, they're having like an eyes wide shut party and steal Cerebro back.
Yes, hell, they could integrate. Like they could show up and in an equivalent. Oh my God, seeing Cyclops dress like that big stupid X face,
yes,
like they all
the masquerade party,
like for the masquerade party that they have to infiltrate. You know, like Jean meets Emma, and they're like, ew.
Oh yeah, they have a mean girl stand. Oh, this is a great way to work Warren into. Where it's like, well, fuck, we need a man on the inside. The Worthingtons, they're rich and weird and everything, and they got a kid.
Yes. Oh my God.
Got to work it. His costume, of course, has a bunch of feathers on it because why wouldn't it?
Yeah. Tubez the one. We already have most of the Young Avengers here. What if they made Prodigy the first mutant in the universe?
Prodigy. Is Prodigy even in any of those new X-Men books? Because it feels like everyone is in those books. I have not seen Prodigy yet.
I don't think so. Maybe he is. I mean, like,
Prodigy and the original Thunderbird are hanging out together.
Yeah, what the hell? Ben Florian, hey guys, I can't stay, but I wanted to say I love you. I love the show. I want to say I love you. I want to say I love the show, but rarely get to catch it live. Hope you both have a great holiday season. You too, Ben. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us. Uzab says, when will a House of X adaptation be a good idea? Like 10, 15 years from now?
But they will do it because, again, we're building this franchise to last, you see, so we can eventually.
I don't want to see Krakoa. Krakoa is an idea that you have after X-Men's 100 years old.
Exactly. It only works.
You First says, happy belated Thanksgiving, you guys. Loving the pitches. I think it's a high time we get the X-Men versus Juggernaut. Nice one-off villain for an early movie. I think so, and it also it makes the family aspect of it and stuff.
Absolutely.
Benjamin Loudly says, my pitch opened with Cyclops wrecking shit with his optic blast, almost killing Wolverine over Jean, then leaving the X-Men and the school in ruins to provide Sinister with an opening to recruit Scott. So you've already established the X-Men, and I think it might be a little too short,
That's like the third movie right there. That's like the high point, like Act 2 end of the second movie or third movie.
Cat Lawyer, they can show government maybe Hydra influenced actively hid mutants that can reflect how in real world government do the same thing with certain minorities. I can see that.
That's very MCU. Blame everything on Hydra. It was always secretly Hydra's fault. Yeah, actually, I like that. Secret Nazis suppressed this oppressed community even more so by keeping them off the books because, it challenged their ideals of gene superiority.
Right? Sean D, howdy guys. Hello, Sean. How are you?
Howdy to you too.
The Milkman, they used stolen Stark tech to make Sentinels. I could see that. I would also be okay with here's my idea for that, because I think they want to shut up all the Iron Man Jr. stuff. I would have Hammer Industries go under and be acquired by Trask.
Oh, that's fun too.
Mike Manhattan, a Gambit heist movie from Steven Soderbergh.
I mean,
Sure,
that's what they
I'd watch
kept.
that.
I mean, that's what they kept saying the Channing Tatum movie was going to be that they never made.
Exactly. Apropos of the like previous point about what was it? Hydra and stuff. I had this thought just while you were talking about that, where it was like, what if like Iron Man 3, he's like all like nah.
Mm.
And it's all because of his PTSD and everything like that.
Yeah,
But he also gets over it really fast. And I'm thinking, like, what if there's this moment where he's like, they retcon in, he stole this shit from Shield. In Avengers, he steals everything from Shield,
Yes.
like all the information. And then in Avengers 2, he just breaks into the compound and like takes their shit, like Hydra shit. It'd be great if he's like, he's reading his X-Men stuff. He's like, well, there's mutants and crap, and then Professor X is like, no.
Yeah, no, gone. Oh, yeah, that's got to be a thing too, where Scott says it's like, how were you never discovered all these years? How has this never been a thing? And then he's like, well, I got into your head just fine, didn't I?
That's all you need. You don't even need to bring Downey Jr. back for like a few seconds. You could just say, well, I mean, I got into your head without any trouble. How do you think? Do you think the president? You think you're smarter than the president of the United States?
And that just keeping a thing. Scott's like, have you deleted my memory since I've been here? You'll never know.
Yeah. K-Pack, quick overview, mutants in MCU, original 5 X-Men, and giant size on Krakoa, Sinister manipulating Krakoa and from shadows experimenting on mutants. Yeah, I can see Krakoa being like an experiment that like Sinister was working on. Everybody wants Sinister at experimentation. I think it's too messy.
It's because he hasn't been done yet. My thing is like, if you're good, you could have something with Sinister and like the Marauders for the third one.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'll work out like he finds Havoc eventually, and he's the leader of the Marauders in this.
Right. Oh, I like that.
Because
Dan's
that's
back.
his only team.
Jubilee's gonna skip being a vampire in skip to being a vampire in Blade. I want Spider-Man interacting with Wolverine and of course Johnny Storm. Yeah, man, Johnny would be great. Scrappy Doo, Deadpool should quantum leap into the MCU. I love that.
If anyone could get away with it, it would be him.
Totally. Mr. Roboto, make the X-Men a set of musicals, then profit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would pitch a mutant musical. Mutant the musical.
Mutants. Yeah. Alex R. A good team to start with. Cyclops, Jean, Iceman, Beast, Angel, Kitty, Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Jean. High school rival Emma Frost. It's very X-Men Evolution.
Also, Storm is too powerful. Again, I want to build up to Storm later. Like, again, I feel she could be the leader and linchpin of a whole other trilogy.
Absolutely. Mr. Roboto, how about a West Coast X-Men franchise?
Oh, we'll get there. We'll have X-Factor and X-Force and all the other X's eventually.
Totally. Andre F., would you connect Wanda to mutants in the MCU? Would her children qualify as mutants? Prodigy was in X-Factor, funny enough, dating Wanda's son, Tommy.
Oh, holy shit.
I mean, yes, absolutely. Unequivocally, yes. I want Wanda and Pietro to have been mutants. I want that to have been the thing because, like, they're the reason they weren't in the comics. Thanks to so it stands to reason we retcon those friggin' movies. So I'm okay with that.
We'll get there eventually. It will have to be something to be like, hey, the dad that you mourned for getting exploded in your like Russian apartment there turns out wasn't your dad at all. Yeah, your dad was actually Magneto. How did that happen? That will probably need a movie unto itself. We'll need to have Scarlet Witch Magneto, something to explain that.
That's what we want. What will happen? In Doctor Strange 2, they will meet Ian McKellen as Magneto in the multiverse, and he'll be like, in my reality, Wanda Maximoff is my daughter. Oh, that's cool. How different are we? Weird. And then they don't do that.
And then they move on.
The Derpiest says, would it never happen to Brock Lesnar as Juggernaut?
Again, I don't think the dude can act, but he doesn't have to. He just has to be big and shouty and sweaty.
Kelly Frederick, I think Prodigy was on X Factor, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, maybe for like a minute. Again, that book unfortunately didn't last, even though I like the whole Law and Order meets mutants.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's, yeah. Do you have any other continuation of this pitch?
Well, okay, so we wrote Act 1.
Yes.
It's about Scott trying to find Xavier. Act 2, they got to break into the Hellfire Club during a party to steal the thing.
Fun, yes.
What's our big Act 3 when they got to eventually go liberate all the kidnapped children from Nanny and Orphan Maker? What's a cool venue? Where's the evil base? Where are they setting this up?
Okay, you got to think of like evil bases, so or X-Men bases. It could be
what's like a very X-Men-y thing,
right? You could make it like a tease where a defunct hammer drone factory
Oh,
where you have
fun.
robots.
Yeah, because
And
Nanny obviously has drones. She has the kidnapped nasty boys who, she sends into battle because that's the big twist. Like, oh, Scott, now you got to fight your friggin' childhood bullies and everything because turns out they were mutants too. Actually, everyone in your orphanage was a mutant. Interesting that you didn't know about that until just now.
right. What? That'd be a great moment for him. So that yeah, but you could have it's a defunct Hammer or Stark drone facility, maybe one that like Stark shuttered after his revelation in Iron Man 1.
Right.
You could have it take place in Genosha, but I don't know
Right.
what Genosha would be. I don't want to set that up right away.
Well, maybe it's just an island that Nanny calls Genosha or gets called Genosha later on.
It could be Krakoa. It could be an island called Krakoa.
Yeah, just to put it in there as a reference where it's like, oh, yes, Nanny and Orphan Maker are operating out of a tropical island. How many clicks here, there? It's called
Krakoa?
Yeah, Krakatoa. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
That would be a fun, like, that's very MCU to be like, yeah, they go to this island and it's like, that's actually really great. So here's why. They go to Krakoa. Like in Giant Size X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Where they discover that they weren't the first ones to go on this mission.
Oh, shit. Again, another dark secret of Xavier. Okay, so I might have sent another team here once before because I thought the island was alive, but it didn't really pan out.
Right.
Clearly, Nanny had the same idea because isn't it interesting that Xavier have the same ideas as all of these other evil characters we've set up?
I'm a little worried about that. I think it makes Professor X too unsympathetic.
Right off the bat, yeah. Because it's about him trying to build the legend of Professor X and being this, like Willy Wonka-esque guy.
No, it is. We do it. And then at the end, he makes them forget.
Oh, fuck. So now we're going full modern-day Hickman X-Men.
Yeah.
Forget all of it.
Right. That's it.
We had a fun adventure, didn't we, kids? And we all learned a lot and grew as a team, and you're not all still mad at me.
Boom. That's it.
That's a pretty dark twist for an MCU feel-good movie, but I don't hate it.
I mean, alternatively, okay, so like that's like the real one. Or you could just have them go to the Savage Land and fight dinosaurs.
You know what? There you go. Nanny's in the Savage Lands. What do you mean? I just discovered mutants are real. You mean there's a place where dinosaurs still exist? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole world out there, kids.
It's a big world. There's a dead celestial coming out of the fucking ocean over there.
True enough. Yeah, if we eventually get up to there. I mean, man, I was thinking way smaller. I was thinking like creepy-ass carnival or something. But yeah, Savage Land, Genosha, Krakoa.
Right. Now, I mean, like, if that's the case, you go arcade.
Yes, that's totally the sequel villain there. We got to have a whole one built around arcade because never been done yet. Super fucking cool. Endless possibilities.
See, the thing is, I love the idea of arcade, and I think that'd be a great movie. But these are movie people. They want to stand themselves up. They made a whole Black Widow movie about Harvey Weinstein.
They sure did.
So there's no way they wouldn't do Mojo.
Yes, Mojo is great. A big, gross TV executive.
Especially with the multiverse.
Yeah. I pulled in guys from all over. I pulled in guys from other X-Men movies.
Exactly. No. Mojoverse is like... The Mojoverse movie is ridiculous. Like, Hugh Jack... It's basically just like the What If movie. Or the What If cartoon. We're just getting everybody together. Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, no, they fight Wolverine. Like, they throw, like, the team at Wolverine. Like, they don't... Not Wolverine, because he's not on the team, but, like, they throw a Wolverine at them. It's the Weapon X one from that Days of Future Past movie or whatever, Apocalypse.
Whichever one it was. Oh, that's fun. That's really fucking fun.
So Hugh Jackman wears the friggin' helmet.
Oh, my God.
And, like, so he doesn't... So it's not Hugh Jackman most of the time. And then, like, they can Marvel de-age him.
Oh, that's really
when they break the helmet, and then Mojo's like, "That's enough," and then he just goes away.
Do we work in an excuse on how he needs to actually put on a costume for the first time ever in this Mojo movie, so people really have to see it because it's the only one where Hugh Jackman wore a costume?
I think so. I think it's a great idea.
Like the kids are like, "Hey, man, you really helped us on this adventure. We made you something."
There we go. Oh, Tiffany says he's still on X Factor. Okay, we got that. We got Prodigy worked out. New type JB Lee Roxxon would be a United Enemy of Mutants and Teen Heroes with Senator Patrick Grayson, Graydon Creed, Robert Kelly, Henry Gyrick. This was inspired by Immortal Hulk, and both Ewing and Lore runs the champions.
Good names, good drops for like evil industrialists and aligned mutant-hating racists and bigots. That's good. Yeah, you got to pepper them throughout there too and everything to show that they exist, because that's endless potential down the line.
Exactly. Jam Call X, how many major and minor X villains do you think will get offed in the MCU bad guy blender? Because X-Men is well known for returning baddies. I agree.
The problem is that's why I'm setting up Nanny and Orphan Maker right away. You can kill Nanny and Orphan Maker. It's fine. You don't need to keep any of them around. You got to keep Magneto around, Mr. Sinister, Juggernaut, all those other guys. Arcade and Mojo, you can do away with them or keep it open-ended. Like, yeah, that was a robot we killed, or that was a clone we killed.
Oh, Simon Pegg is Arcade.
Oh my God, fuck yes.
You don't kill Arcade, you just keep using him. Like, you put him, he keeps making death traps for heroes. Like, oh, what a great opportunity.
It's endlessly reusable and endlessly wonderful.
The derpiest of derps keep pitching Evil Xavier, not mentioning Onslaught. You can't have Onslaught without Magneto.
And we got to set him up. Yeah, in fact, shit, if Wolverine has his own franchise, should Magneto and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants also be a franchise unto itself?
I mean, it could be. You could do that.
I mean, like, he's a guy who rides the line between good and evil so much. Could you imagine him showing up, giving, like, really impassioned speeches to, like, Blob and Pyre and be like, fuck those people. Those people aren't helping you. I'm helping you.
Right, exactly. Oh, yeah.
I think there'd be a huge audience. If an audience can love Killmonger as much as they do, I think an audience can love the shit out of Magneto.
There's no way they wouldn't immediately.
Yeah, Magneto was right.
Yeah. Paul S., what are your dream casting choices? Thankfully to you, Jen. So thank you very much, man.
It's rough because you got to cast young, and I don't know any young people.
That's the thing. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of casting, only because, like, A, that's in a whole episode, but B, you know, for me, I just pitched the X-Men or the Wolverine movie, and I already told you I want Daniel Radcliffe to be Wolverine.
Legit, yeah.
But I love that idea. And one of these days we'll work out our cast list. Maybe we'll just poll you guys. We'll be like, we're live. Who do we cast?
Yeah, really.
But we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Joel, is there anything else that you wanted to mention before we sign off?
No, that's pretty much it.
That's the movie. We've made the movie.
I think we made the movie. That's the movie right there.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. What do you call the damn thing?
Uncanny X-Men.
Just
full stop. Hey, what's the name you love and like? Or you could call it the new X-Men, but that's a little boring.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, especially because, like, so for the audience, they're like, what do you mean new X-Men? To me, it is new. I don't even know what the hell that is.
It's always new. Then again, I mean, I guess if Spider-Man is any indication, it's the title, then the subtitle. So it should be X-Men, Children of the Atom, X-Men, something.
Right. Like, because if you know the, like, if you know Spider-Man, you don't need it to be called Spider-Man 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's always Spider-Man. And I guess X-Men should be like that too. It's always X-Men. Because if you do call it the Uncanny X-Men, does that mean you got to call the sequel the Astonishing X-Men? And then you got to call the next one X-Men Gold. So do you exhaust all the names?
I don't like that idea.
Yeah, exactly. It would be great for the first one, but then you're really in trouble after that.
Yeah.
So maybe it should be X-Men subtitle. And the X-Men have a lot of really good subtitles too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the way to go. Vicious Solja says, miss you in CT Con, but finally catch you live. Thank you both for the work you do. Well, thank you very much for being here, man. Thank you very much for the support. And hopefully we'll see you at the next con. Because there's, cons are back to whatever extent that is. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for your support, and thank you especially to our super chatters who's helped sponsor today's episode and keep it clean. We'll see you guys next time with an all new episode, and that's it. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, whether you're Canadian or American. There's nothing. We don't own the patent on overeating and hanging out with family out of a feeling of obligation. So,
watching football and parades.
Exactly. Don't forget to subscribe. That's the best way to help us out. So make sure to subscribe here at ComicPop Returns and youtube.com/ComicPop. Thanks a lot, everybody. And who knows what's going to happen with X-Men? I don't.
No.
But at least we can give you an idea that you can be disappointed they won't do.
Yeah, true enough.
So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.